So hello, everyone. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. This is a big occasion. We're all excited about this. This is the second of our Meet the Candidate evenings. On Tuesday, we met here and we heard from the seven candidates who are running for the City Council. And tonight we're going to hear from the two candidates who are running for mayor. I'd like to introduce Mr. Ryan Lair. Hello. And Mr. Dan Pelchat. And I also would like to introduce and thank our partners for this evening. We have Mr. Phil Allmen, the editor of the South Lyon Herald and Hometown newspapers. Thank you, Phil. He'll be our moderator this evening. And we have two from the National League of Women Voters, Oakland area. We have Bridget, our timer. Stand up and wave, Bridget. And we have Linda back here. She's collecting the cards, your questions, your index cards. If you have any questions for the candidates, there should be index cards around the room, or you can ask either myself or Linda for one. Write out your question and just wave it in the air, and we'll be happy to pick it up and bring it up here to Phil. Let's see. Okay. A special request to read this. Tonight's event is being recorded by the South Lyon Area Community Television. For those who have WOW Cable in South Lyon, you can watch the video on Channel 19. The mayoral candidates video will air at the following times: Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, 4:05 p.m. to 6 p.m. Wednesday, Friday, 3:05 p.m. to 5 p.m. The City Council candidates video will air at the following times: Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, 2 p.m. to 4:05. Wednesday and Friday from 1 p.m. to 3:05 p.m. These videos will be posted on the South Lyon Area Community Television Facebook page and the library Facebook page. And please be sure to share the video links. So with that, I will thank you all again for coming this evening, for exercising your right to be an informed voter and participating in the democratic process. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Just to let you know the format of tonight, we will start off, each of the candidates will introduce themselves. And both candidates were also given 3 pre-event questions, which they will answer. Following those 3 questions, we will take questions from the audience. All questions will be answered by both candidates, so questions that are directed at a single candidate will not be used. Everything else, time allowing, we will ask those questions tonight. And then after the audience questions, we will wrap up with concluding statements from each of the candidates. And with that, we will begin. We will start with Ryan. Ryan, introduce yourself. And
hi, I'm Ryan Lair, and I'm running for mayor. I'm a 19-year resident of South Lyon, and I chose to run because I think we have positive things going on in the city, and I'd like to be of service to help those ideas move forward. We have a lot of things that have been approved in the city, and it's been wonderful to be able to see those changes, especially with your downtown being redeveloped. Our DDA director has done a wonderful job. Our parks are being beautified. We've gotten new equipment, and you know, I've been doing this kind of community work for 19 years in the city. I've been to almost every city council meeting for 19 years. I missed a few, but generally been right on task. And I've also been at the Blues, Brews, and Brats and Pumpkin Fest and all of the events. I also have some sort of city council experience. I was a student council and on my high school, and I was responsible for managing and helping with the budget and to make sure that our students could go to the places that they wanted to go, and if there weren't available funds, unfortunately, we're tasked with dealing with that as well. So with that, I hope that I will get your vote, and I hope I have a chance to become your next mayor of South Lyon. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Dan.
Thank you, and good evening to you all. Thank you all for coming out. I'd also like to thank the Salem-South Lyon Library, the South Lyon Cable Commission, the South Lyon Herald, and the League of Women's Voters for helping organize this event this evening. My name is Dan Pelchat. I am 36 years old, and I am the current mayor of the city of South Lyon. I am married to my wife, Meredith. We have a dog named Bonnie. I am currently the public address announcer for the South Lyon Lions football and basketball teams. I've worked here at the South Lyon Community Schools Tech Department since the summer of 1998. I'm a former member of the City of South Lyon Cable Commission, and 2 years ago I resigned that position and went on to win a 7-way write-in to become your mayor. Since that time, I have worked hard with the city staff, including former interim city manager and chief of police Lloyd Collins, to hire our new city manager Paul Zelenik. And we as a city staff and council have passed a balanced budget, addressed infrastructure issues. I have met and developed relationships with surrounding officials locally and from the state. Also, I represented the city of South Lyon this past summer at the Michigan Association of Mayors Conference in Port Huron. We have continued progress on developing the downtown as well. I'm very proud of the work that we have accomplished in the past 2 years, and I look forward to continuing that work in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. And now the first of our 3 pre-event questions. First question. Over the past few years, residents of South Lyon have seen their community on the local, state, and national news for reasons that no community wants to be a part of. How can you change that? Dan, we'll start with you.
We have taken steps to combat this problem, even recently, within the parameters of what the law allows. Of course, for the first time, we've been able to appoint individuals to our Board of Ethics, which can review situations like this and make recommendations to the board. Censure is always an option as well. Overall, however, this change requires an all-around attitude change. Those of us in elected positions that want to move the city forward and prevent these stains on our wonderful city will continue to act ethically and professionally. And we have to leave it up to the voters to vote for those that represent their values.
Thank you, Dan. Ryan.
Yes, you can't change things from happening. That's the first thing. Things happen all the time, and how you handle it is the best. Is what's most important. You're in the public eye, and you're also the mayor. So it's how you act professionally and deal with it professionally, and you get past it. Because life always throws curveballs, and you have to be willing to address those curveballs. We have a great city council. We've had a great city council for a long time, and that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Our second pre-event question. What do you feel are the top 3 expenditures the city should be most careful about, and why? And Ryan, we'll start with you.
The top 3 expenditures that are extremely important are police, fire, water, and sewer department, and DPW. They are the lifeblood of our city. They go out every day and make sure that we are safe. We get free drinking water, fresh drinking water, safe drinking water. Our police, they're out every day making sure that they're safe, attending to our children, and making sure that they feel loved in the city as well as our seniors and the regular of our community. They have been the lifeblood of our city for years. The fire department, they have done a wonderful job in securing our seniors, making sure that they are attended to and are always willing to help out, and especially at public events. And the water department and the DPW are unmatched. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Dan.
Thank you. We have to be sure to make proper and responsible investments in our infrastructure, our public safety, and in our city staff. During the past couple of years, we have been careful to make efficient investments in critical infrastructure, keeping our public safety departments functioning at a high level, and ensuring that we have the right people around us to achieve our city's goals of positive growth. Our infrastructure is the basis of which this town is going to see growth. We all want to see downtown development and business growth and job availability. We need to continue to work on making South Lyon a great place to live, work, and play. Secondly, thanks to our great public safety, South Lyon has been one of the safer places to live in the state of Michigan. I plan to keep it that way. Our first responders are invaluable, and we need to continue to support them in keeping our community safe. To build on that, investing in ourselves is one of the most important things that we can do. You can't run a great city without great people. From our first responders that I just mentioned, to our administrative support staff, to the employees.
Thank you very much. All right. And for our third pre-event question, how would you describe the role of the City Council in advancing the needs of the community compared to the role of the City Manager and his responsibilities? Dan, we'll start with you.
It's without a doubt a hand-in-hand relationship. This past year, we were able to hire a great new city manager, one who has a ton of expertise and is willing to share that with us. It's our responsibility as elected officials to work with him and help him help us. Additionally, to put it simply, the City Council is directly accountable to you, the voters, and it is our job from there to hold the city manager accountable as well. We live in a manager-council municipality, and I think that the council has a great working relationship with Paul, as it should. He has shown a great ability to understand our community itself. All in all, we are here to serve you, the people, because we love this community. Our city manager is somebody that will help us do that, and it is our job to both support him and hold him accountable to the people of the community for the goals of the city of South Lyon.
Thank you, Dan. Ryan.
Yes, the role of the city manager and the city council is exactly like our mayor said. You know, we set policy, and we're supposed to help the city manager execute those policies, but it's all about the residents. The residents are the ones that have the voice. You know, let us come to council. Let us know what you want. Let us know what issues you have. The business is the same as well. You know, we want to hear from you. We want to hear from everyone. And we will address those situations at our council meetings. But the city manager will execute those policies that we set as a council, as a board. And I have full confidence and 100% support in our city manager. He's an amazing man, and I've had a privilege to work with Paul on several occasions, and he really cares about our city. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Now we'll start with our audience questions. What skills do you bring that will help you succeed as mayor? Ryan, we'll start with you.
Yes, my skills are that I've been on student council, so we operated on the same level as city council. We operated exactly the same way. We had Pledge of Allegiance. We had a chairperson. We had to wait to be acknowledged. And I was on there for a year, and I also set policies within our high school. So I have, I have experience. I do not have city council experience, but I also have time and availability to be able to do this as I am disabled. And so therefore I have much more time than maybe other people that have a full 9-to-5 job. And I've been in this town for 19 years. And I have excellent working relationship with all department heads. And so with that, I will, I can tell you that I will work very hard for you, and you will day and night to make sure that all your goals are met. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Dan.
Thank you. Skills for being the mayor here in the city of South Lyon. I have worked for the city of South Lyon, or the schools here in South Lyon, for over 20 years, and that's a service industry job. You are dealing with people on a day-to-day basis where you need to listen and explain when they can expect results. And I've used that over the past 2 years to build relationships with the city staff, our department heads, to make sure we're listening to the concerns of the citizens as well. And so I would tell you that the skill set that helps me the most is listening and communicating with the people that I'm surrounded with here at the city. And when you're surrounded with a great group of people, you're able to come up with great solutions. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. And as a reminder for our audience, if you have not already checked to make sure your phone is silenced, please silence your phone. All right, for our next audience question. What do you feel are the most important responsibilities you will have as mayor? Dan, we'll start with you.
We'll piggyback a little bit off of what the last question kind of ended with, is listening to your constituents and relaying that message and making sure that they're heard at the city level. You know, obviously running the meetings is very important as well with efficiency, and we've been able to do that over the past 2 years, and limiting our marathon meetings that we were somewhat notorious for in local municipalities news. So I would tell you, you know, being efficient at the meetings, making sure you're listening to people, and being able to communicate at the meetings and help move the city forward.
Thank you, Dan. Ryan.
Yes. You know, the job as mayor is you're a leader. You know, you lead by example. You know, you have to work with your team, and you know, every you know, whoever comes up with an idea, you need to listen to them. You can't tell them no, or act as though, you know, their opinion doesn't matter, because it does. And, you know, if somebody comes up to the microphone and gives you an idea, you want to listen, because their idea might have great sense, you know, and you have to get along with the department heads, and, you know, you can't be a boss, you have to be a leader. You have to listen to what they have to say. They also have concerns as well. And the best way to address them is to listen, have eyes and ears. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. For next question. Disagreements can arise on city council. How will you manage the conflict? Ryan, we'll begin.
Yes, if there is a disagreement on council, you have to take a look at what the disagreement is about. And maybe someone's just voicing their opinion. I'm here to be a leader, not a boss. You know, I'm not here to boss people on council, and you know, I'm going to leave it at that. You know, I'm a leader. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Dan.
This is easy. You got to remember that you're here for the city. You know, if you have council members that are disagreeing on issues in relation to the city, that's great, as long as they're keeping it above the table. You start taking shots at people and personal attacks, there's no room for that, and that's not why we're up there. We're up here on every other Monday night to do work for the city. We're not here to be the entertainment on the local broadcast channel. So really, you listen. Hopefully you keep it up, you know, on the up and up, and you work through it, and listening to other people's opinions and options on certain matters that you may not agree with. But there's no room for the personal attacks, and we've been actually able to narrow that down a lot over the past 24 months. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Next question. We need more garbage cans downtown. Can you make this happen? Dan, we'll start with you.
Well, I would bet you if I was able to talk to our friends over at the DPW that, yes, we could. We would probably need to look at where they would be the most efficient. I would also say that I think we need more recycling bins throughout the city, too, and we've been able to add some of those as of late to go with the garbage cans, because I think it's important that we do try and put a little bit of effort into being a little bit more of a greener community. So if we're going to take a look at adding trash cans, let's go ahead and take a look at adding some more recycling bins around the area as well.
Thank you, Dan. Ryan.
Yes, to address the garbage cans issue, you know, our DDA director, Bob Donahue, has done a wonderful job at getting some of the trash cans out. To piggyback on what Dan has said, is that, you know, I agree with him completely. You know, we need to be a greener city. We need to, that's paramount. You know, we need to eliminate trash and keep it out of our landfills. You know, it's all about living in the town that you live in, and as nice as you make it, that's how it's going to be. And I think we can all agree here that we love South Lyon. That's why we're here. That's why we're here tonight. And so I agree with more trash cans and more recycling containers. But I would say that we should try to do more recycling than trash, because that keeps it out of the landfills. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Next question. How will you set goals and objectives for the city manager? Ryan, we'll start with you.
Setting goals to the city manager will be one of my top priorities. We need to make sure that we're fiscally responsible, that we're bringing tax base into the city with infrastructures and with our current base because we are landlocked, and we can only grow within, we can't grow out. So it's very important to make sure that we set the correct goals, and we need to hear resident input. Let us know what you want for the goals for the city manager, and we can also set the goals for the city manager so that he can try to attain those goals and, make sure that we stay on focus, making South Lyon go forward for our children from years to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Certainly. Thank you, Ryan. How will you set goals and objectives for the city manager?
This is a process that actually should be open year-round, but the time to really focus on that is during the budget season, because you can list the goals and the city manager will have 12 months to try and help tackle those goals with the set amount of money that the city is looking to spend in that year. But those of you that know and have any experience in a municipality, things do pop up from time to time. So you would start with a list of goals for the city manager during budget season, and then you would also grade him out on how things go throughout the year on the things that pop up. And like we just had not too long ago, you will have a annual review for the city manager, and look to build upon that each and every year.
Thank you, Dan. All right. We need our street of Hagedorn repaved as it has more than a few bad bumps and potholes. What is your road priorities? Dan, we'll start with you.
Thank you. And let me first say I apologize to the folks that live on Hagedorn. You were told probably 18 months ago that that was a process that was going to begin. But unfortunately, things changed, and we had some issues underneath that street that need to be addressed before we go through and handle that process. We have, in the last 3 or 4 months, started out another PACER study to focus on the main issues and major, kind of like a pyramid of priorities on where we can attack and be fiscally responsible with our money so we're not laying down streets and then tearing them up 8 months later. So those studies are taking place right now. We are looking forward to getting that feedback back and attacking infrastructure issues immediately once that information is back to us.
Thank you, Dan. Ryan.
Yeah, how we attack the roads is a huge priority for the residents, and I've heard that for quite some time. And I also apologize to the residents of Hagedorn. I know that our city council member Carl Richards has been on that for quite some time as well. And I agree with Dan. You don't want to rip up the street if you're going to have problems down the line and cost taxpayers more money. So we have to do it the right way. Unfortunately, there's been roadblocks and curveballs, like I mentioned before, that you have to address and take care of. But we will get to Hagedorn, and we will get to trying to get the other roads taken care of. But again, we can only do so much of the budget, and that's all we can do. We can try to tackle the roads and infrastructure as best as we can, but I can assure you we will get to Hagedorn. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Next question. What makes you think you will make a better mayor than the other candidate? Ryan, we'll start with you.
It's not about being the better candidate. Dan has been an excellent mayor, and I have no complaints at all. If you don't elect me as your mayor, we will have another 2 years with our current mayor. He's done an excellent job. I bring excellent tools to the table. I get along with the department heads. I know some of the people in DPW and sewer and water, and the fire department and the police department, and we all get along. So I think that we can get a lot accomplished, and hopefully you'll give me that chance. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Dan.
Thank you. 2 years ago, I stepped in here in a city that was desperate for leadership, a change in leadership. And there were some ups and downs right out of the gate. But we have put ourselves in a position here in the last 24 months that I am incredibly proud of. And with some new staff, we've made our meetings more efficient involving City Council. I think with the things that I have learned with the staff in the city over the last 2 years, puts us in a prime position to take advantage of a city that is on the cusp of big things. And so with that being said, I'm looking forward to hopefully be a part of that.
Thank you, Dan. Specifically, what is your education and work experience? Dan, we'll start with. Yes. Specifically, what is your education and work experience?
Well, I'm a 2001 graduate of South Lyon High School. Go Lions. I have some community college years, but I also went to school at Specs Howard, Media of Arts, for broadcasting. I've worked at South Lyon Community Schools Tech Department since 1998. Had some other odds and end jobs here, but mostly been tied to doing broadcasting and tech work here in the city of South Lyon, and I'm proud of that.
Thank you, Dan. Ryan.
Yes, my experience in education is a high school diploma. I have not gone to college. I'm disabled. For the last 25 years, I've been taking care of my significant other and my mother, who has MS and recently diagnosed with Alzheimer's. So unfortunately, I do not work, but I did work for 3 years at McDonald's, so I have lots of customer experience. And one thing you learn is customers are always right. The citizens are always right. So I've learned a lot in my years, and I've been an activist for this city for 19 years. And I look forward to doing it for another 19 years, as long as I'm here. And God is willing to let me stay here. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Next question. How do you propose improving communication with the citizens and the businesses in the community? Ryan, we'll start with you.
Yes, getting out, and I've already been out and talked to some of the businesses, and the businesses are what makes the city wonderful. I mean, you have to have great places to shop, and if the businesses aren't happy, the residents aren't going to be happy. And it goes two and two. You have to have a good communication, go out there, see what their needs are, try to address them, and make them feel welcome in South Lyon. And I think that change has already taken place with our new city manager. He's been out there. He's been out in the community. He recently did a 24-hour breast cancer awareness, which I thanked him very much for doing so. I thought that was wonderful. And it's all about communication, just getting out there and letting your voice be heard. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Dan.
Thank you. And I wish this question could have been a little bit more descriptive, because I feel like the local businesses in the city of South Lyon are very much involved in a lot of things. For example, when we're at the high school football games on Friday nights, I read the advertisers between quarters, and you barely have enough time to get them all in. So between that and social media, I feel like the communication should be better. I wish we had an example of what the problem is. But I feel like we are moving in the right direction, and if you're in the crowd and wrote that question, please feel free to follow up with me on an issue that you may have directly. But I feel like we're on the right track. Bob Donahue has done a great job in opening up communication between the downtown and our local businesses, and we actually have a survey out to get feedback from our local businesses here in the next month or so, and I'm looking forward to hear that. So thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Can you explain the South Lyon ambassador position, and what are the duties of the ambassador, and how is that ambassador chosen? Dan, we'll start with you.
I don't have a lot of feedback on that. I've heard of it, but I have not been privileged to the story. So I will pass to Mr. Lair.
Yes,
Ryan.
Anybody can be the ambassador of South Lyon. I'm a recent graduate of the Citizens Police Academy, and we were all given the title of ambassadors of our city to go out and do good work. And at that time, the 3 people that were in my class for South Lyon were senior citizens, and they asked if I would be willing to step up and be the ambassador, because they were too old, and they didn't feel that they could commit to that type of a project. And I said, absolutely, I'd be honored. And that is how I became the ambassador of South Lyon. Anyone in the community can be the ambassador of South Lyon. You can go out and be an ambassador for the community and support your community and go out there. And I welcome anybody to be the ambassador of South Lyon. It's been a great run, but if I'm the mayor, I won't be the ambassador anymore. That'll be for someone else to step up and take the role. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. How will you assure that the city retains the city fire and police departments? Ryan, we'll start with you.
There is no chance of us losing our South Lyon Police Department or Fire Department if I'm the elected mayor, for sure. We will look at cutting non-essential with our boards or commissions, funds, or whatever, if for any reason that needs arises. We will not lose our city services. I can assure the residents of that completely. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Dan.
That's a very interesting question. 2 years ago, when I was out gathering information, going door to door in my first term running for mayor, that was one of the questions I wanted to ask everyone, because I know a lot of our financial stuff gets tied up with our first responders. And I asked people, hey, are you willing to get slower response times and cutting staff here to cut taxes? And the loud answer was no. And so obviously we have to look at being fiscally responsible and making sure we're providing our citizens with everything they need in our community. But until our community decides that that doesn't include first responders, that's not happening.
Thank you, Dan. What about keeping children safe at school? What can the mayor and city council do? Dan, we'll start with you.
That's a great question. I mean, you just have to be there as a support staff for the school district. That's a very difficult thing across the country right now. It is a hot button subject. I feel our community does an incredible job. We have a great police department here in the city of South Lyon that is moments away from many of our school district buildings in the city. That's a team effort. That's a team effort with the city staff. That's a team effort with our first responders. That's a team effort with the Board of Education and the administration team over there. And I would tell you that's something that's going to be going on for a long time. I mean, that's the only way you can attack something like that, is to continue to stay on top of it, keep your lines of communication open, whether that's with our local police department or with Oakland County. And really you hope it never comes to something like that.
Thank you, Dan. Ryan.
Yes, I would like to apologize to all the families around the country that have experienced school shootings. They're the worst thing that possibly a child should ever have to experience to go to school. With that in mind, the mayor and the city council can only do so much. But we have a wonderful police department that responds every single time to any type of incident that may happen at the school, but also the children. If you see anything small, if you think it's stupid, speak out. Let them know. That's how you prevent these situations from taking place. It may not be anything, but it may be that one thing that you see that you didn't report because you thought it was stupid might be relevant. So make sure that you get out there, but we're always vigilant and trying to make sure that our schools are 100% securely safe. But we all know in the world that it's kind of hard to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. What do you see as the role of youth in the growth and development of our city, and how have you or how will you connect with them in your work as mayor? Ryan, we'll start with you.
Yes, I think our youth is extremely important. That's why I chose to run for mayor. I think it's about making our kids safe for the future. You know, I recently attended a 1964 high school reunion, and they made what South Lyon is today. Now it's our job to make South Lyon what it is in the future for our children. Our children are going to grow up and see what South Lyon is all about. And we need to make it safe for them, and we need to make enjoyable them, their parks, the rail trails, and the businesses and for people to enjoy shopping into the future. And I think we can do that. We're making great strides in this community, and it's been a wonderful, wonderful experience to be able to see the growth over the 19 years that we've made accomplished with City Council and government. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Dan.
This is truthfully one of the greatest things about having this position. With my current day job, I'm able to go and speak to the kids 5 or 6 times a year. It's a real joy for me that the kids think you're way more important than you really are. I've had them ask if I took a helicopter there. You know, it's so I do enjoy that. It's something that really picks you up. You know, on Friday nights, I'm out at the football fields, and the high school kids love it too. I mean, you're able to interact with the kids on a level where they know you're representing their community, and if they have ideas, and whether it's a dog in a cat park or, you know, actually like, you know, relabeling parking spots in town to be more efficient. It's great to be able to interact with our youth, and I do enjoy it. I don't take it for granted, and usually those are some of the best days of the year for me.
Thank you, Dan. This question, you guys have touched on it a little bit already, but what will you do to ensure the highest safety for the people of South Lyon? Dan, we'll start with you.
Well, yeah, you're right. We did touch on this a little bit. And going back to me talking to people while knocking doors, people are concerned about the surrounding communities continuing to grow, which is one of the reasons why it is important to keep our first responders at the elite level that they are right now. We have incredible response times and incredible staff from top to bottom with our fire and police. And so the only way we can stay with that type of action from our first responders is to make sure we still support them and continue to move that way forward with this community.
Thank you, Dan. Ryan. Yeah, the best way to keep South Lyon safe is our first responders, just like Dan said. You know, I'm constantly over at the police department, making sure that they're okay, everybody's doing good. If there's been a situation that took place, you know, making sure that everybody's okay, and that you know, law enforcement and first responders have the highest suicide rates, and that's not something you can take lightly. You know, they see things that none of us see on a daily basis. And it's very important to make sure that they know that they feel loved in the community that they represent, because, you know, they don't know if they're going to come home the next day. They don't know if that's going to be their final shift. And you don't know that. It's always in the back of your mind. And in order for that to happen, you have to ensure that they feel absolutely 100% secure in their job position as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. And for our final audience question, why do you like living in South Lyon? Ryan, we'll start with you.
I love living in South Lyon because I've been here for 19 years. When I grew up for most of my life in St. Clair Shores. And of course, I spent a lot of my time fishing on the wharf out on the nautical mile. But when I came here, and my mother said, "Well, why don't we move to South Lyon?" And I said, "South Lyon? What's that?" I don't know what South Lyon is. You know, I grew up on the east side. Well, I haven't never looked back. I mean, the memories I have of where I used to live was great, but South Lyon's wonderful. We have beautiful parks, beautiful rail trails, things to do in downtown. You can go to the police department and say hi to the guys. You just go around and enjoy yourself. Say hi to the residents. Talk to everybody. This is a very friendly town, church-going town. You know, the children are amazing here. They love playing on the playgrounds. I mean, there's something to smile about South Lyon every day. And I don't think there's a day I don't wake up and just realize how wonderful South Lyon is. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. And Dan.
What's there not to love? I would put this town up against any town in small town America. This is a blue collar town. People are proud to be from here. I'm proud to be from here. We stand up for each other. It's a perfect location where you can enjoy the things of the big city, like the sports teams, and still have the the memories of when it was the horse capital of the state. What's there not to love? It's, like I said, it's small town America at its finest. And it's very charming like that, even with the growth that we've had. So I think all of us are very proud to be from here.
Thank you, Dan. And that concludes our audience questions for the evening. And I want to thank everyone for attending tonight. Thank you for the library for organizing and hosting this. Thank you for the South Lyon Area Community Television for recording this and airing it for all the candidates to see. And with that, we will go to our concluding statements. And Dan, we will start with you.
All right. I want to continue as your mayor to make sure we continue to support small businesses to help grow our downtown and beyond. Support our city services, employees, and our first responders. Continue to work for our citizens, especially our senior citizens and those in need of our support. I love this city, just like that last question. This is a blue-collar, small-town Americana at its finest. And I'm proud to be a part of it, and I hope to be a part of it going forward. So thank you.
Thank you, Dan. And Ryan.
Yes. Tonight, I'd like to ask for your vote. I would love to have the chance to be your mayor. I've been in this town for 19 years, and I'd also like to thank the library for hosting this event and Channel 19 and Rich Perry and his crew for taking the time to do this for our community. Our seniors are wonderful. I'm a huge senior supporter for the businesses downtown, for improving our downtown and keeping it going. I talk to DDA director almost all the time, and it's really important that we keep moving forward. That's the whole thing. And I will work for you day and night to be the best mayor I can possibly be. I'm not 100% perfect. Nobody is. But I believe that I can be a really good mayor for your community. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. And that concludes tonight's candidate forum for the South Lyon mayor. The election is November 5th. Thank you, everyone, for attending tonight, and have a great evening.